Hi guys, I'm so excited because today I am celebrating the release of my first book called Perfectly Fractured. I can't believe this day has come. It feels like such a dream, but it is here and my book is now available to purchase from Amazon. I can't believe it, it's crazy, but my dream has finally come true of becoming an author. So at the beginning of 2020, I made it my goal to publish my first book by the end of the year. And it seemed like a distant dream, like it would never happen. There were so many obstacles along the way. There were times where I thought of giving up on the book and on my dream, but I stuck to it and I finally have a copy of my book in my hands. To celebrate the release, I thought of filming a Q&A video for you guys so I can talk a bit about my book and about me as a writer for you to get to know me a little bit more. But to start off the video, I'm going to read out the blurb of my book for you guys so you guys can get a little bit of a taste of what my book is about. So the blurb says, "Losing Sophie changed our family. We never saw it coming. We all had different ways of coping. My mother started a career that transformed our lives entirely. Her success as a motivational speaker brought wealth that my parents had always dreamed of, but with this wealth came great loneliness for the child that they had left behind. When I met the Santiaros family, my life drastically improved. Elliot became my childhood best friend, and his parents, Katerina and Lorenzo, treated me like I was part of their family. They brought happiness into my life that had been absent since losing Sophie. On the night of Elliot's graduation party, everything changed. The Santiaros family became distant, and I could not dispel the feeling that they were hiding something. When I accidentally discovered a book from the past, I realized that the Santiaros family had secrets. These secrets are the key to understanding the hidden danger lurking in their family. Will I discover the truth before it's too late?" This is what my book is about, and now I'm going to get on to some of the questions that I've been asked from Instagram. The first set of questions is from @reader_writer. And the first question is, how did you come up with the idea for your book? So I originally started writing a book back last year, and I had all of these characters in my mind and they were put to a different story altogether. And I found that I really loved the characters, but I didn't like the story that they were in. So I ended up sort of reworking a different type of story and putting those characters into that story. And yeah, that's how I came up with Perfectly Fractured. To be honest with you, a lot of it was my imagination. I don't even know how I came up with some of these ideas. I think that I started off with a vision of what the beginning would look like and what the end would look like. And it was just me trying to piece together the sequence of events so they all sort of lined up. The next question is, what was your favorite part of the process? So I think that my favorite part in the process was actually doing the book cover. So I designed the book cover by myself. I think I sort of had an idea of what I wanted to do when I stumbled across the image of the girl and the boy. I knew that that was the image that I wanted on my cover. It was stunning and I knew that I needed to have it. So that image was sort of locked in, and then once I decided on my title for my book, Perfectly Fractured, I wanted to have something that looked like they were breaking. So I found a picture of shattered glass, and I knew that like it was perfect trying to incorporate the two pictures together. And that it was just a really fun process. It was actually quite smooth trying to make the book cover. I didn't really struggle all that much because I knew I had a vision. Yes, I had to rework that glass over that picture multiple times to try and get it right and get it to fit and for it not to like cover up important parts of their faces. but in the end it worked out really well. Writing wise, I think my favorite part was doing the first draft. I think people don't realize like how hard the editing process actually is. And the first draft, there's no limits, no constraints. You're basically just getting everything onto paper. So you can write to your heart's content, you can write anything down, and there's no sort of limits or boundaries, which I really like. The next question from reader turned writer is, what is your favorite part of the book? So that's a really hard question to answer. I think writing wise, I really enjoyed writing some of the end scenes of the book. There's a lot of drama and action at the end, and it was just so fun to write and so fun to read. But I also did enjoy writing the diary entries. I don't know, I really liked it. I liked embodying a different character in the story. And yeah, it was loads of fun. I'm going to read out a short paragraph from the diary entry to give you guys a little bit of a taste. So this is from page 57, and this is what it says. So, he has a brilliant gaze. He tries to hide it, but I see him. He just doesn't know it yet. I spend a lot of time watching him. He's nice to look at. Interesting. He doesn't give much away. I want to know his secrets. I want to know every one of them. Is it wrong of me? And yes, that is a short little snippet from one of the diary entries. Yeah, like I said, it was so fun to write these diary entries. It was great. The next question is from Ria Leah 9, and her question is, do you write for a passion for writing, or have you got a specific goal to be a famous author one day? So that's a bit of a hard question. So when I decided that I wanted to write this book, it was because I had a passion for writing. I'd always wanted to be a published author. I love books, and that's the reason why I got this story down on paper. I really wanted to write a story that readers would love and treasure and relate to and feel really emotionally about these characters. So that's why I wrote the story in the first place. I think it's definitely passion has a lot to do with it, but I think there's no harm in wanting to be a famous author one day either. I think that's like an amazing dream, to be a famous author one day, and if my book ever takes off and if lots of people love it and I do end up becoming popular, like that would just be a bonus. So the next question is from Kevin's_authentic films, and his question is, do you have unbiased book reviews or only from family and friends? How do you ensure authenticity? So this one's a really tough question because I came to a point where I'm like, what am I going to do? Am I going to go out? Am I going to look for book reviews? Do I want it to happen organically? I knew that I wanted to share my story with my close family and my close friends. So I did end up giving my book to them to read and to see whether they like it or not, and I offered them, if you want to write a review, go ahead, go for it. But I never forced them or said to them like it needs to be positive, you need to, you need to make my book look good or anything like that, like any of that bias sort of stuff. But I have thought about getting book reviews from people who aren't, who I don't know and who aren't related to me. But yeah, I'm still debating whether doing that, or I have had people offer me who I don't know who want to read my book and who I'm going to be giving a copy to. So there's going to be a balance of both. So how do I ensure authenticity? I think it's about, I'm not going to approach people and give them my book and be like, here's my book, give me a review. I'm going to try and let it happen as organically as possible. So if there's people out there who really want to read my book and they purchase it and they leave a review, that's fantastic. But if someone doesn't want to read it, then so be it. So I think I'm just going to let it happen that way. The next question is a good one. It's from a friend of mine, and the question is, do any of the characters represent anyone in your real life, and how or why were they represented in this way? So a lot of the characters were not anyone that I know of. They were in my head, and there was some inspiration for one of the characters though. is probably she's probably one of the characters with the most like related to someone that I know, and that is Katarina's character. So Katarina is Elliot's mother, and she's very motherly and warm and nurturing, but then she's also got this other side that's quite fiery and, you know, strong-willed and stubborn, and she was definitely inspired by my nan. So my nan is a bit of a contradiction of a person. She can be quite loving and caring one minute, and then the next minute she can be like fiery and standing up for what she believes in. And I feel like Katarina was definitely inspired by this, by my nan. I think it's a nice little tribute to my nan because she has passed away. But yeah, so definitely Katarina's character has been inspired by people in my real life. As much as I don't like to admit it, there is a little bit of Simone, like me and Simone. There are, I guess, a bit of similarities, like we both like cooking, and we both like running and being in nature and that sort of thing. But yeah, I guess that sort of draws a line there. Simone is she's still different to me, but there are a little bit of similarities. But other than that, when I think of some of the other characters, they are just made up, my imagination. Yeah, they're just all in my head. But like there are some characters that I do wish existed and were like real in real life, and definitely Elliot and Ash's character. Like if I ever ran into them one day, that would be crazy. But yeah, those are two characters that I wouldn't mind crossing in real life. And even Lucy. I know some of you may not like her in the book, but I don't know, there's just something about Lucy that's quite charming, and yeah. I almost forgot about the last bit of the question, and that was how or why were they represented in that way. So I represented Katarina as these two different sides of her because I wanted to try and make some of these characters as realistic as possible. And I think for Katarina to just have that side of her that's like nurturing, like loving, warm, and that sort of thing wouldn't be really realistic. No one's perfect. So I wanted her to have that other side of her that was sort of contradicting to that side. And sort of like balancing the light with the dark sort of thing. But yeah, definitely for authenticity, I wanted to portray her that way. So I'm going to finish with some questions of my own that I really wanted to answer for you guys, and to give you a little bit more info about Perfectly Fractured and me as a writer. So the first question is, why did you write Perfectly Fractured? So I wrote Perfectly Fractured because it's hard, but like I always wanted to be a writer, and yeah, I had these characters in my mind, and the previous story that I did have, I didn't want to scrap it all together. I wanted to keep these characters alive, and that's why I wanted to write the book. I've always wanted to be an author ever since. Like I became obsessed with books in high school, and I wanted to sort of prove to myself that if I set goals, like if I put my mind to it, I can achieve whatever I want to achieve, and I have done it. So that's why I wrote Perfectly Fractured. Next question is, which character is your favorite? So that's a hard one because there's a few characters that I actually like in my book, but my top one's a bit predictable, and that has to be Elliot. So I remember talking in some of my earlier YouTube videos about Elliot and how much I love him and all that sort of stuff, but I still love him to this day. I think that, you know, he's one of those characters that he puts up a hard front. He, like, sometimes he appears kind of cold and aloof and distant, but there is a softer side to him that Simone sort of gets to peek a little bit in this book, and there's this vulnerable side to him. And yeah, I don't know, I just love him. But a close runner-up has to be Ash. So Ash is quite a charming sort of personality. You don't get to see a lot of him in this book, but you get to see a lot more of him in the next book. So I'm excited to showcase more of Ash in the next book and for you guys to read it. Next question is, how would you describe Perfectly Fractured in 3 words? Okay, let me think. Intense, dramatic, and God, intriguing maybe, but like I don't know, like if I could do it, those are like describing words, but if I could do it in sort of words of what the plot is about, I would say friendships, family, and horses. So yeah, that's a hard one, but yeah, I'm gonna have to leave it at that. So the next question is, do you plan on writing more books in the future? And yes, I am writing more books in the future. So right now, I only have plans of releasing a second book to Perfectly Fractured at this moment. I don't know what book's going to come after that. At the moment, I'm sort of tossing up different writing projects. I don't know. But definitely a second book after this one. I wouldn't mind making this a 3-book series, but yeah, the second book is definitely going to come soon in the future, maybe next year. But yeah, I wouldn't mind continuing on my writing career. But it all depends, I guess, on how this series goes and, you know, what happens next. Like, I can't tell the future. I don't know how many books I'm going to write. But yeah, it would be great if I could continue writing. I love writing. It's fun. It brings me great joy, and yeah, I'd love to put more writing out there for you guys. Those are all the questions that I have for you guys today. My book is called Perfectly Fractured by Krystalle, Bianca, and it is available to purchase on Amazon right now. I have linked it down below. I can't believe that I'm holding a book written by me in my hands. It's crazy. But if you guys are interested in reading it, go on ahead. I hope that you enjoy it. And if you did like my book, don't be afraid to leave a review. It helps me out a lot. But yeah, that's it. That's my book. If any of you guys have any more questions for me, don't be afraid to leave them in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys have to say, and to answer any questions about Perfectly Fractured. Thank you to all of those who submitted questions through Instagram. I'm so grateful. Thank you. And thank you guys for joining me for this video today and for the release of my first book. Thank you so much for watching.